A very warm welcome to the channel. My name is James, and this is the Asia Show. I do get attacked quite often by some people who say you've never been to China, you don't know what you're talking about, etc., which is actually quite funny. The last one I had was saying I have traveled China for 2 years and I didn't see one homeless person. Well, if you're in the city centre and you're just visiting the tourist attractions, you're not. But dig deep enough, like in any other country in the world, you are going to find some homeless people. It's a sad state of affair that they've just fallen bad on their luck or they come from poverty, whatever the situation. So I'm just going to introduce my life in Asia for this one. I came to Asia way back in 1993, and I was in Bangkok. I had a contract with the Dusit Thani Hotel in Silom, if anyone knows Bangkok. That's sort of like in the city center area. Then I got a contract to go to Wuhan to open up a nightclub called Hon Tai An. Translated into English is Red Sun Disco. Don't believe me? Go and look it up. You can find it on Baidu, but it's a deep search to find. Then back to Hong Kong, and then off I went to Chengdu in a nightclub called UA. And some other contracts I've done in China as a DJ all those years ago was JJ's Beijing, JJ's Shanghai, and JJ's in Taipei. Taipei is not China. Taipei is the capital of the country of Taiwan, just to really upset the Chinese people or the little pinks here who do watch it and criticize. Other places I've been to in Asia, well, every single country near enough. In Japan, it was Juliana's Tokyo. In South Korea, in the Hilton Hotel on Nandaemun Mountain or Nandaemun Mount. It's changed hotel name. I think it's Millennium now, where the nightclub was called Pharaohs. I worked in Brunei for the royal family. I can talk about it quite openly now because my sort of like contract was like the Official Secrets Act, and I worked for the royal family. Mainly I worked for Prince Hakeem at the time. It was called House Number 5, and yes, he did have a multi-story car park of Ferraris, BMWs, Lamborghinis, Maseratis, Aston Martin, and McLarens, etc. there. God, where else? Bali, I've been to quite a few times and done some discos and nightclubs there. And I sort of retired as being a DJ and went into a huge, big company in Hong Kong, which actually took me more into China on business trips, mainly into Shanghai. I was also involved with the IELTS. IELTS is the International English Language Teaching System, where I was occasionally, once in a blue moon, an examiner in Shenzhen. So for those people who say, I've never been to Asia, you don't know anything about China, well, I would like to say, sorry, you're wrong. Most of my friends actually are from Hong Kong. Most of my friends are also from Shanghai as well. And we would chat once in a blue moon, once in a while, what's happening in China, not using the social media in China like WeChat, because it is monitored by the government, but on an application called Telegram. It's really common in Asia nowadays. I'm not too sure about the rest of the world, where it's like WhatsApp. It's so well encrypted that the hackers, the people who try to break into your computer, cannot via Telegram. So it's quite safe and secure. And a lot of my friends will talk about what's happening in Shanghai, and then I will try to go and find some images or videos on Twitter. Now, these videos that I show you are not from BBC or CNN. These are from real people in China using a VPN. A VPN is a virtual private network. It jumps over the firewall so they can post a video of homeless people in China, which the government say they've eradicated absolute poverty. It's a load of bullshit. And I do watch some of these pro-CCP lovers who will just blatantly lie right in your face, as a ex-policeman from England would do, and say the VPN is totally legal, when I can go to a lawyer in Shanghai and she says, no, it's not legal, it's illegal, but it's accepted as long as you don't post anything bad about the Chinese party there. Maybe I'm doing this video out of a rant and a rave because this person just said you don't know anything about Asia. It's how to say, you go to a country, let's say Brazil, and you like Brazil, you live there. You will know a lot, but you will never know everything because you're not Brazilian. I am obviously not Chinese. I will not know everything and how their temperament or attitude works. But the way that they come down on me is just like someone like a bot or a robot saying you don't know what you're talking about. Then they would usually do the criticism of you old geezer, trying to use some expressions that makes you feel that they are not from the actual People's Republic of China, trying to disown you. But it's a crazy thing. In China, you can't use Facebook or YouTube without a VPN, which is illegal. But you can't get a public IP for your own address like I have. It's a IP which is more secure. In China, it's a private IP, which is actually quite easy to break into and hack. But I pay like $660 per year for my internet for a public IP, which has a lot more security. In other words, one wire and me, not a private IP, which is one wire and 10,000 other people. Yes, it is a lot cheaper, but it is a lot less secure. Some other comments I get say, why don't you go back to England where you come from? You don't know what you're talking about. Occasionally, once in a while, I do go to England, but I find it ridiculously expensive. And some of the bad habits that I may have, like having a glass of wine or a bottle of beer here would cost like 50 cents. But in England, just from a supermarket, may cost you $2 or £2.50 for it. So the cost of living is here. And I because I worked really hard, actually, I was able to retire round about when I was 44 years old. And I do have a investment which is near enough guaranteed until I pass away, whenever that will be, to help me go by. This house I actually paid for. This is my house. So I have less things to worry about. Rent is just like food, electricity, and Christmas, which I'm saving up for now, and a great holiday 3 or 4 times a year, usually in the country of Thailand. It's just so close and it's just convenient to go to. But to England, well, I have 2 sisters who live there. One sister does live in the United States. But this is my life in Asia, and I'm very, very happy with it. And I like putting on videos with YouTube. I know I'm not a great success, but I just like to put in my own point of view. And please do write your point of view in the comment forms below. You can agree, you can disagree, you can say, I don't know what you're talking about. But I reiterate, I've said a million times before, don't do a personal insult. If you do, then most of the time I know you're going to come from the bot farms or the anti-West people in China that think China is #1 in the world. Everyone loves their own country. I'm very proud to be British, like maybe you are very proud to be American. Chinese people are very proud to be Chinese. It's okay. But I think you need to open your eyes to the whole situation and don't just go blindly forward and closing your eyes to a different point of view. You can agree, you can disagree. Some of the best points of view comes from an outsider, and maybe you can't see it because you've been adapted in that life for a very long time. So what is the future? Am I going to continue living in Asia? Well, the answer to that, is yes, I'm really happy here. I'm settled here. I've invested a lot of time and a lot of money into it. I have a beautiful partner called Soapy. I got 2 delightful cats here called Pickle and Tokyo. I got a couple of motorbikes. I do have a very basic car, nothing exciting to write home about, and I'm very, very comfortable. I couldn't afford actually to live in the UK. Now, the pension in the UK is round about, £80 per week. It's just not enough. Yeah? And you would need to have some kind of private pension scheme, or you invested into stocks and shares, for example. My mum unfortunately passed away last year. She got the pension from the UK government, but how she survived, I would guess, would be from her father, my grandfather's sort of investments that he did when he was very young, and that paid for her lifestyle in the UK. I'll be back. Some people also say to me, why don't you live in Thailand? Everything is there. You got the beautiful beaches. It's not as expensive as England. Yeah, I actually like going to, and I have lived in Thailand before. Again, I worked in some great nightclubs there in the 1990s. Again, I mentioned the Dusit Thani in there. I also worked at the MTV Party House and another one on a road called Rashtrapati Road, but I can't remember, or the Emerald Hotel, but I can't remember the name of the nightclub there. These are some of the bigger contracts that I've had in the past. So it's time for a little bit of breakfast. I do have cornflakes there, and I do have some coffee here. So I don't even know what to call this video, but the thing is, I think as long as you're happy wherever you are and you're relatively comfortable for now and in the future and expect the unexpected, then it's fine. YouTube, for me, as I mentioned a million times before, is just a hobby, and I'm just putting my own point of view across, and I'm actually getting sources of information from my friends in Shanghai, for example, and then I would actually go and find some of the videos on Twitter, for example, from what their information says. It's not from any kind of what people like to say, the Western media. Media is media. In China, it's a little bit different. If you went on, I can't remember the day, not so long ago, President Trump got re-elected and he's going to be president come 2025. Good on Trump. I did actually, and if you went onto all the networks around the world, it was Trump, 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 election, election, election. So it was quite enjoyable watching that. But if you went to China, nothing. I did actually go onto the Chinese networks, and it didn't have anything there. It was just normal, regular TV viewing. And then after he got elected, I did look at some of the networks there, like Global Times and Xinhua News, maybe you know them. And there was very little information about this big change in world politics in that way. But such is life. In China, you can only report positive news. You can't about China. You can't do anything negative. So Xi Jinping is ill. Xi Jinping fell off a mountain. Xi Jinping's car broke down. No, zero about that. It's only how wonderful he is and how, Xi Jinping is not the president or the general secretary of China. He's a god of China. But the thing is with him, what is he going to be remembered for? One day he will step down, or he will be taken down one way or the other. And he will be remembered for the guy with COVID. He's not going to be remembered for anything else. Now, I know some people are going to disagree with that. In the 1990s, China was a very, very exciting place. There were rules and regulations. Don't talk about Mao Zedong. Just behave and be a good boy. And way up to in the 2000s, up to 2012, then Xi took over and he just put China on a stepping stone. I know some people would say, well, look at the high-speed train network. Yeah, but it's at $900 billion in debt. Look at the infrastructure. Well, the infrastructure comes from the private sector. So HSBC, Citibank, Standard Chartered, I'm just trying to think, Walmart, for example, they're all in China, and they make all these cities at nighttime look very beautiful as well. The list goes on, and basically this is a rant and rave, but I'm going to leave you with this, and I'm going to have my breakfast. Comment, like, subscribe, share, donate. Everything is in the link in the description below. Have a happy day wherever you are in the world. Please do criticize if I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm very open-minded. But I repeat, don't say you don't know what you're talking about, you have zero experience. In some cases, I've lived in Asia a lot longer than some of the people who would criticize me. But that is a different story, and I don't think the length of stay should impact how it is. It's just having that freedom of speech, which I'm allowed to do, and I'm doing this on a platform which allows me to do it on. In China, you can only do positive things, but you can't do anything negative, like Xi Jinping had diarrhea, for example. Oh my God, they'll make headline news. Thank you to all. God bless. Bye-bye.